Got it. All right, good evening, everybody. This is the Planning Commission, Upper Darby Township Planning Commission meeting for August 11th, 2025. Call the meeting to order. We have Debbie Nafang, Jeffrey Roken, and Lee Jordan in attendance. Mike's not here and Cassandra's not here, but we still have a quorum. So I need a motion to approve the minutes from July 14th. Get a second? Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Communication and bills. I don't believe there is any. Next item on the agenda is the Community and Economic Development Report. And I believe we're going to hear from Rita.
Thank you, as always, for having me give this report. For the people at home, I'm Rita LaRue, Director of Community and Economic Development for Upper Darby Township. The initiatives we have making progress in this last month have to do with community feedback for the business community for the proposed plastics reduction ordinance. This is an ordinance that was brought to council by the Environmental Advisory Committee, and my department was asked to facilitate feedback from the business community. So a letter and a survey went out to approximately 3,500 businesses. It was mailed on Friday, and I know that businesses are already receiving it because we already have responses to the survey. So our business community can also pick up a hard copy survey at the Upper Darby One Center. We are going to give businesses until August 29th to fill out that survey, return it to the township, and then in September, we are going to have community feedback sessions. So we'll take some of the information from the survey, share it with the business community, and anybody else who might like to attend those sessions, which will be moderated by the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce. There will be 3 sessions in mid to late September. Then we will compile a report for Township Council to consider, and they will determine what the next step should be. The Urban Land Institute Technical Assistance Panel has provided us with the final draft of the report. My team and I are meeting with them next week to review a few items, and that should be released to the public, I would say, before the end of this month. We are also embarking on an economic feasibility study for downtown Upper Darby. It will be informed by that ULI TAP report, and we will be looking at what is it that we need to do to provide a great mix in the downtown area as far as entertainment, businesses, public spaces, and moving forward. Attracting more businesses, as we all know, is really critical to revitalization of not just downtown, but our entire township. It also attracts visitors, serves our residents, creates revenue streams. And a diversified revenue stream with more revenue coming from businesses is certainly part of the township's plan for the future. On that same note, we are going to be looking at a project for building economic incentives. So how do we attract more developers, more investors, more businesses? Are there best practices that we can learn from other municipalities that put together a package of tax incentives and other items that will attract investors to Upper Darby? And finally, the Small Business Resource Center and Grant Program. This was about $3.8 million allocated from the ARPA funds that is now in capital reserve. We did a request for proposals for small business consulting services. And it's noteworthy to say that in Upper Darby, small business really means micro business. Often we're talking about businesses with 10 to 20 employees, maybe less, certainly less than $1 million of revenue a year. But they are the backbone of many of our business corridors. And as you know, our comprehensive plan calls for those business corridors throughout the township to connect with the neighborhoods. So we are looking forward to, we have one more item that we're requesting of the companies that responded. We have 2 finalists, we did interviews, and we are now going to ask them to put together a more detailed 90-day business plan, because getting the small business grants out to the community is the highest priority for the township. Any questions?
What are the survey questions that went out to the businesses?
The survey questions regarding the plastics
Yes, yeah,
ordinance?
yeah.
Yeah, I could send you a copy of
Okay.
that via email.
It's
And I
a
can,
plastics ordinance?
plastics reduction.
Plastics reduction order, okay. Okay.
I can
All right.
also. The letter in the survey.
All right, got it. Thank you.
And then also on that plastic reduction ordinance, you said in mid-September, you'll be soliciting community feedback. Do you have those dates yet?
We don't have those dates yet. We're looking at locations, and we're looking at when the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce is available to moderate.
Oh, okay. And then I have another question about the small business, the 3.8 million,
Yes.
right? So you said it's down to 2 finalists. So what exactly does that mean?
So part of that 3.8 million, not all, but part of that will go to small business resource consulting services. And that will be professionals who have experience in working with small businesses to help them build their capacity so that they're doing everything right when it comes to how they run the business, how they develop their workforce, how they serve the community. And hand in hand will be the grant program. Often for these small businesses, what they really just need is a new industrial freezer. And that could make all the difference, and it's a few $1,000s. So we're making sure that through the consulting services program, the small businesses have the capacity to take advantage of the grant program and then to fold it into their business plan so that they're successful.
Thank you.
All right. Good. All right. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is subdivision and land development plan for 600 Garrett Road.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If you don't mind, my name is David Chafkowitz. I'm here on behalf of the equitable owner of the property, New Hope Property, LLC. With me is Scott Mill. Scott's just going to do a little setup, if that's okay. I believe some members of the board have seen this plan before. I'm not sure that all members of the plan have, but just by way of background, the property is located at 600 Garrett Road. It's an existing 3-story structure that I think the board may remember as a car dealership, I believe, at one point.
Some of us, yeah.
It's hard to believe that those used to be car dealerships, but, and it has an interior kind of parking structure, ramp structure, where the applicant now is seeking to adapt, or readapt and reuse the property for first floor commercial, some interior off-street parking, and add a 4th floor to allow for 27 one-bedroom apartments. The applicant has been before the zoning hearing board, and we recently refiled to extend our approvals to obtain most of the necessary relief, but you'll see in the letter there were a couple things, technical kind of dimensional things that we need to address. I do owe Josh a letter because I think one of them had to do with the size of our loading zone interior, so we'll take care of those things. One of the other items that came out of our last planning commission meeting, which was actually really helpful, was addressing some of the interior parking and how it's laid out. I think the suggestion came from the board to make it work was to do a one-way in and out, the result of which did reduce our parking inside from 13 to 12, but we were successful in talking to our neighbor, who's literally a guy building across the street, to increase our off-site parking there from 10 to 11. So we'll bring that in front of the zoning hearing board when we get scheduled, and hopefully we'll get our approvals renewed, and we'll make those adjustments as necessary. I think the board, and Scott, maybe you could show, do you have the pretty pictures on the exterior? Yeah. Just real quick. This was the most attractive part of the project, is the client's commitment to not only renovating the interior, but working on the exterior of the building as well. One of the things that I know has been in the reviews, and we'll have to make further adjustments, is making sure we have the right landscaping. I think we'd need a visit to the Shade Tree Commission, which obviously we'll take care of. Some of the details for what I'll say the other amenities out front, benches and those types of things, which of course we'll continue to work with Josh and his team on those types of things. But the intent is to build this structure, which I think will be kind of a beautiful fixture just up the street. The applicant, like I said, is also proposing the 2 first-floor commercial. They're both going to be kind of small, convenience hopefully for the residents that are living there and people that live in the neighborhood. But if the board would like, Scott, who I hate to just let him stand here and look pretty, he could give a little overview of the property and what's being proposed. And then I have, we do have the review letters from Pannoni and from Josh, which luckily most of them we'd happy to go through them, but most of them will comply, if not all of them. And we do have our updated waiver letter, so maybe when Scott is done, I can hand those out.
All right.
All right, let me go
Up
back
to
to
you.
there.
Do you got a mic?
I'll go back to the mic. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just flip over. Good evening, Scott Mill with Van Cleef, and before I get started, I just want to say if I'm the pretty one in the group, then we're all in trouble. But here's an aerial photograph of the site of the surrounding area for context, and the site, you can see the rectangular yellow boundary around it. It's about 8,200 square feet, frontage along Garrett, which you see running left to right up top, Walnut along the right side up and down, and then Shelbourne side to side along the bottom. And basically the existing structure takes up the entire property. It's in the C1 commercial zoning district. And as Dave mentioned, the proposal is to renovate the existing structure. It's 3 stories now. The first floor would be retail in the front area facing Garrett, about 920 square feet each for those 2 retail spaces, and then parking behind those spaces for 12 interior spaces.
Okay.
Kind of mid-block here would be where the entrance is, and then you would be able to come around. There would be 12 angled spaces, and then exit out towards the intersection where Shelbourne is. We're showing landscaping improvements along the periphery of it, street trees, shrubbery, benches, bike racks, things of that nature. And the idea, as David mentioned, the second and third floors that are existing would be renovated for 9 apartments on each of those floors, and then a 4th floor added with another 9 apartments for a total of 27 apartments. That's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as what we're proposing. It's, again, the site is basically the building, so there's not much in terms of land development features for the proposed property.
And I guess, Scott, since you have the pointer, just for the board's edification, the property that's directly across the street of Walnut, right? I know there's a new development going in there. Those gentlemen have been kind enough to help us provide that 11 parking spaces. Part of what was in some of the reviews that we were just talking about earlier was improving the ADA access to the site, both from that location and from the locations on Shelbourne. And speaking to the client, whatever the ADA improvements are necessary, even though they may be technically off-site, we're willing to commit to as well. One of the other items that came out was interesting also in the review was about when people are leaving this particular building, there was a concern about sight distance, about when the cars come, that we don't want any conflicts with pedestrians. So again, we'll work with either Pannoni or the traffic consultant, but we have engaged a traffic consultant as well. Also because there's going to be some HOP work with PennDOT, and then his suggestion was to create that warning symbol or warning system that has like a laser system where when a car approaches, there's some lights that will go on outside the building saying cars approaching to warn pedestrians.
Sorry, where's the substandard site distance?
During that, at the exit
Right
area.
here.
Right there, okay, got it, okay.
And the concern is they require you to take it from a measurement back from the curb.
Correct, yeah,
But once you get back too far, you're within the building at that point.
Okay.
So
all right,
you basically have to approach the curb. And obviously, if there's somebody walking there or about to approach walking, there's a concern for conflict
Okay.
there. And I believe, because this represents the improved,
yes,
Site.
that's built.
I think this is the actual
parking,
parking where
Yes.
the additional overflow parking.
So they're leasing 11 spots to the residents of this building, that's the plan? Okay, got it.
Was that A&E?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
the new
yeah.
building. So how, well, I'll wait till you're finished. I was gonna ask how many total parking spots then are there? So how many total parking spots then? So there's 11, 12
It'll be
inside or
23 total.
23? Okay.
And we are making a commitment as we or if we can secure others, we will. Is that, it's the way, oh. And, you know, there's some opportunities for on-street, there's some opportunities across the street, you know, so that's one of the reasons why I think one of the things we're looking at is making sure wherever there's potential for parking, we want to improve
Okay.
the access both for pedestrian and for handicap access too, so. And, you know, I think it would be a perfect opportunity because like we didn't have much more to discuss in the review letters.
Okay,
I do have the waiver request, which I probably would ask Scott to go through,
okay.
but certainly if you guys have questions, you know, shoot, and we'll happy to do our best.
So I know that the Bywood Civic Association is pretty active in that area, because so have they been involved in any communication of what's going on and the additional homes being built?
Honestly, not as familiar, and I appreciate
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Sud was getting.
Right,
I'm not aware that they were
Okay.
engaged, but certainly we'd be happy to if you think it makes sense. As
yeah,
this,
it might be, I mean, I don't, actually, I do know somebody on that. I mean, it might be good just to reach out to them, just so they know,
just
what's
have some
going to happen.
conversations.
Yeah, what's going on, unless, do you know if anybody's been in contact with them?
No, but we'd be happy to make the connection,
Yeah, just,
especially if if you want that to be one of your conditions too. I mean,
Yeah, I
you've had
mean,
public
just
meeting
so- I
before.
mean-
Just make them, I guess, make them
we're
aware.
aware that, that
Yeah.
this is going to
And you
happen.
have, there's a
I'm pretty
contact
sure,
there? Okay.
yeah, I think I know a couple
All right.
people
If
on
you don't
it.
mind sharing that with Josh, and
Yep.
Josh
Yeah,
will
well,
reach out.
yeah.
We have
Not
no
at all.
problem.
Yeah, I can do that. No, I guess my concern is just the parking, because, people just get so heated over parking spots anymore. So, I mean, but if you're, thinking about getting more, and I guess anybody who leases, so are they gonna be renting, or are they gonna be buying?
They'll all be rented.
They'll
Okay.
be renting, okay.
The good news is that, the rule of thumb with the one-bedroom units, hopefully, each unit will only really need one car. But we're also taking advantage of being close to public facilities, by the train, by the bus stops, that we do find that there is a little bit of a reduction in the need for parking. And the main people I can point to as an example for that are my own kids, both in their early 20s, both would look at a place like
Yeah.
this, and neither of them have cars. They just, one works from home, one works part remote. And it's just just a different, where when we probably grew up, we couldn't wait to get our cars, and now
Correct.
much different animal. But, so I think the parking will work, and I think we were just grateful to our neighbor to work with us and provide us.
So I have a question about that. How does that work? All right, so he's going to lease you these spots now. Is that going to be attached to his deed and,
Yeah, we're
forever?
gonna- We set it up as a long-term lease. that
Okay.
essentially we pay.
Okay,
And we'll share that with Josh too,
Okay.
especially before we go to the next zoning hearing board. We just need to amend it to add the additional
Okay.
space.
No, I don't have any further questions. I remember when you were here last time, there was a rather lengthy discussion about a lot of things that you've taken care of. No, my only comment is, as Rita was up here earlier talking about the need to attract further development and so on, having this as an example of an adaptive reuse of a building that's been sitting, deteriorating for a long, long time is practically a billboard for Upper Darby saying, hey, it can be done here. So I think the pictures look great, and I'm looking forward to seeing that whole corner just come alive.
Yeah. See those guys right there? Those are the ones. You have to make sure to see that, what we're building, right there. If it's okay, I'll hand out the two-sided waiver.
all right.
So I'll have Scott go through it with you guys.
Okay, thanks. Yes, I'll give one a W.
You have a list?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're requesting 5 waivers. I don't think any of them are extraordinary or of any great weight, but the first one typically require separate applications or submissions for preliminary and final packages, submission packages. We're requesting to combine the two due to the limited scope of what's being proposed. The second one requires additional right-of-way be provided for various roads. The fact that the building takes up the entire property up to the existing right-of-way makes it impossible to provide the additional right-of-way that would otherwise be required. 3 has to deal with our proposed street trees and their proximity to the intersections relative to Garrett and Walnut, and then also Walnut and Shelbourne. The street trees along Walnut, both of those on either end, are right at the 50 feet. There's one on Garrett that's within 50 feet, and then there are 2 on Shelbourne within 50 feet. Our rationale behind that is, and the concern usually is with them being too close to the intersection, issues with sight distance. In our situation, the building protrudes out further into that site triangle and, poses, more of an infraction into the site distance than the street trees will. So it provides for and allows for us to provide more street trees and at an even spacing to give it more of a regular, uniform look. Number 4 requires that all utility lines be placed underground. All but the telecommunication lines are already underground, and we're going to continue to utilize those. So the water, sewer, gas, et cetera, will all be underground. The existing telecommunications lines, we're proposing to continue to utilize the overhead lines there. And then number 5 was one we already discussed, had to do with the intersections and the site distance, and having to do with that access or the egress out onto Walnut from the covered parking. As we discussed, we would be proposing a laser initiated warning system for pedestrians as they're walking along Walnut. So that takes care of number 5.
Could you expand on that a little bit, just to kind of have people who maybe aren't familiar with the system and how that would work and how that affects pedestrian safety?
Sure. So the garage doors, there will be garage doors. So there will be that kind of first line of warning that if somebody's walking and they see the garage doors open, they'll know a car's exiting. But then there will also be almost like a garage door opener, has the laser beam at the base where it can detect if a vehicle is crossing or breaks that beam. And then there will be signage on the sidewalk that will, once it's activated, will flash to warn the pedestrians that a car is entering into the sidewalk there.
Will there be a noise as well associated with it for anyone that can't see?
There most likely will be. We'll have to work with our traffic consultant and with the township to make sure we cover all our bases and satisfy all the requirements.
Design question about the 12 spots on the first floor. Is that vented to the outside? I'm just thinking if somebody leaves a car running.
I'm guessing there would have to be some sort of air handler, air circulation that, because it would be basically fully enclosed, that there would have to be something to exhaust any kind of vehicle exhaust, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, obviously, there would be
It's not a planning
concern
commission
for
concern,
carbon
but yeah, just,
monoxide.
yeah, that's, all right.
Yeah. I mean, that's more of a building code,
Yeah.
more of that end of things. I work more on the outside of the
Okay.
building, so I don't know for sure, but
All right.
it'll be, yeah.
Do you happen to have the design of the apartments again? Is that in any of your drawings?
There is a.
I forget what that, yeah,
And it shows the general layout of the apartment.
right, that's right,
And is it easier if I bring it up for you to see?
probably,
Yeah, bring it up.
yeah.
And I can put it on the board too.
Kind of remember, but not really. So wait, help me out here. That's where you enter.
So this is the hallway.
That's where you enter in here.
Yes,
That's one of
the
them.
entrance, his kitchen. So it's a full 1 bedroom, and I guess like dining area, living area.
Washer, dryer.
Okay.
Bathroom.
Oh, each unit has a washer and dryer in it? Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's the same plan.
Yeah, if you scroll up
Okay.
at the bottom,
Yeah.
should be the,
Yep.
there you go.
have any questions?
I don't have any more questions.
I guess for the public.
Yeah, do we do any public comment? Anybody wants to come speak? Name and address.
Steve Lockard, 427 Spruce Avenue. Wonder if we could have the previous poster up. I appreciate that there's going to be ADA accessibility across Shelburne. I raised this question 4 months ago when they were here. What about some ADA movement across Garrett Road? There's a lot of traffic goes across Garrett Road there. There's also going eastbound on Garrett. There is a no left-hand turn lane there. It's a perfect place to put an island so that people can get to the trolley. I know if people are going into town, they might want to make a right at Garrett and then a left across, a right on Walnut and then a left across Garrett to get to the trolley going into town. But when they're coming home, they're going to get left off at the trolley.
Wait, just a quick question before you go on. Can you cross Walnut Street to Bywood Avenue? Can you cross the tracks there?
You can cross the tracks in both places.
You can, okay, all right.
One, you can go across this way and go right into the library or the library.
Okay,
this way.
got it.
There's a trolley here to go west. If you want to go to trolley east, you go here.
Okay.
If you're coming back from the city,
Steve, they're not gonna be able to, hear you online.
sorry.
If you wanted to repeat that.
Sure. If you're going to go by trolley into
Yes.
town, you'll go across to the right, get on the trolley there, go into town. But when you're coming back home, you get left off on the other side of Walnut, and you'll probably come back on that side when you cross Garrett. There's not an easy way to go across on the right-hand side because there's a left-hand turn as you're going west on Garrett. But if you put in an island on the western side, it would be very easy. That would be the eastern side?
Yeah.
That would be the western side.
A
An
pedestrian
island
island.
would allow for people to go across safely. If the traffic signal is only 20 seconds long, you could at least make halfway across. People were carrying a cart coming back from the dollar store. Maybe they can't make it all the way across. It would be an easy way to do this. And I raised this point the last time that they were here.
Okay, is there
And if it
pedestrian
was-
signal there now?
I believe so. Let me look real quick.
Okay,
There
there should be, okay. And that, I mean, that has to account for how much time they give the pedestrians to walk across. Well, you guys have still to do an HOP, did I hear that? Okay, they're gonna probably dig into this, I would think.
Great question, and not a bad idea.
Mhm.
It's just PennDOT will tell us.
Yes, yeah,
So PennDOT says we can do it. I'm
It's on
sure we
this
can
side.
figure it out.
Okay.
Figure it out. I think it's something that's horribly expensive.
okay.
Fishing,
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense,
Right.
especially if the idea that we want to potentially have some off-street parking there, we want to make the walk easy. But we'll, I think when we submit the HOP, we have to kind of get the townships okay, so we'll
Okay,
talk about how to include that as well.
all right.
And the Garrett Road study, which was 8-10 years ago, brought this up, not just here, but then at Avon, and then at Beverly Boulevard, at Hilltop, right across from the school, and then further up at Beverly Boulevard, so you could get to Barclay Square. And finally, the fifth one, I think, was right across from Nailers Run Park.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thanks, Steve. Anybody else? Public comment? If we want to move on to, you want to get, if Allison's ready?
Yeah, I think so. So, right, we've been working with the applicant for probably a better part of, I don't know, a year, 2 years? Something like that. Right, we're very excited about the prospect of a redevelopment in this situation. As the applicant suggested, right, they're gonna have to go back to zoning to correct the parking count. That being said, they're correcting the parking count based off of our recommendations. So, you know, one goes with the other. But we thought it would be safer, right, that it was one way and that they were slanted instead of 90-degree parking spaces. One of the things that I think is important for when you do get the spaces from A&E is that we have a land development page almost just like that, that shows us the pedestrian walking routes to and from those spaces, and that those spaces, right, are marked and labeled that say parking for 600 Garrett Road, right? You know, and is it fenced off? You know, will there always be access? Things like that, I think, are important to flesh out in this stage now, especially if that is going to be, you know, kind of a consideration for parking. And as far as parking goes, right, yes, there's not a lot, but this is an area that's across from a trolley stop. So this is as good as it gets as far as, right, multimodal, and as far as, you know, development near transit or transit-oriented development. That being said, we have no issues with any of the waivers as requested. They weren't in your review, but we would include them in the final draft copy, so long as you don't have any issues. Allison, is there anything you wanted to add?
I just want to thank the applicant for willing to comply with our review comments. As someone that does know about the old car dealership there, but this will be a great improvement to that intersection, especially with the improvements at A&W that's already been completed. So this will be really nice and will be an will complement that intersection very well. As far as review comments, the applicant did say that they will comply. So the only thing we did want to make clear is that we do require a copy of the lease agreement with the A&E, so we know which areas are designated, especially because A&E is busy during the day, where the additional 11 parking spots will be in the A&E site. I know we had some sewer review comments that was on a separate attachment, some EDU changes there, but we don't see a capacity issue with the sewer.
Wait, Allison, I'm sorry, is this the portion of town that flows towards Philadelphia? It's not.
This
Okay.
is the sewer flows from this site will actually go towards Sherbrooke.
Okay.
And come down Sherbrooke through the Nailers Run Interceptor.
Okay.
And merge with Cobb's Creek into the city of
Got it.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
I think the most important points you have touched on, which is the ADA and the pedestrian safety with the cars exiting the garage. So with that, I don't have any additional comments.
Here I have that. The Bywood.
And if the board wants to add any requirements, recommendations, things like that, now would be your time to do so. I think there's no other public comment.
Okay, I think our only comment was to just make the Blywood Civic Association aware of the development. I don't think we had any other conditions.
Yeah. No, and then Josh, if you do put something together, if you can let us know when they're meeting, if you do like a meeting or anything
Okay.
with them.
All right, so I need a motion to
Motion?
approve as noted?
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
So make a recommendation, sign it today. What's your time frame? Just rough.
Yeah. Well, if you know anybody at PennDOT, then it could go. Yeah. But that would be our lead, that'll be our longest lead time, for sure.
Okay,
But we're
with
gonna
the
go,
HOP stuff, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And we have some of our consultants here tonight, so we're gonna get working right away, kind of on the MEP,
Okay.
architectural plans,
Okay,
all that stuff, so that can, while we're waiting for the outside agencies, we can get that stuff done
All
and
right.
submitted, so keep it running. But thank you very much, it was a real
All
pleasure
right, cool.
seeing
Thanks for
everybody.
coming in.
Thanks for your
Appreciate
time.
it. All right, that's it for land developments. Any old business to take care of?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the, that when Rockwell Development did have the community meeting, which was on July 25th, I believe, whatever that Monday was. it was very well attended. I would say, I don't know, at least 100 people, maybe?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Into the room. And there was a lot of feedback, from the neighbors, a lot of questions. A lot of neighbors upset about it, but, they listened to Mr. Lingo, and they understand pretty clearly that he could do option A today if he wanted to, developing the 56 homes. But, I mean, the consensus pretty much was they would like to leave it just as open space and leave it as a forest. So I guess, so it's clear to everybody, because I'm getting asked, like, exactly what are the steps? Like, what is the timeline for this? If, I know we can do Plan A today, but if Plan B, which is a multi-use, so what does he need to do? So, so people are aware of
Well,
it.
he can't do Plan A today. He doesn't need,
Well,
he will not need zoning variances to do Plan A, correct?
Right.
He still needs all his other.
Right, I mean,
right,
usually there's always going to be one or two things, right? Whenever you do a
Yes,
big
yes.
land development and, and as they come through the planning commission, we point them out and they can either, right, will comply and change the plan to fit those.
Right.
Or they'll go, back to zoning just like our applicants did today and, to go and maybe fix that one more thing. So they might need it, they might not need it, but what they don't need it for is the use, which is kind of the biggest thing, right? The use says you can do, right, this 56 homes. Maybe it's a little less, right, because of some of the other constraints, maybe not. We don't know yet. It's all conceptual right now. But then, right, to answer your question on the mixed use is what you're kind of want to know the order of that. So, right, that would be the first thing they would do, right, is submit a new zoning district text and map amendment as well. So that would kind of set the structure for how that mixed use zoning would be applied.
Okay.
And that would, it acts almost just like its own land development plan, right? That would come through Act 247. It would be brought to you guys for comment. It would be brought to the county for comment, right? And then it would go to council for approval. And then, right,
So that's not just the variance, he's asking you to
that's the
revise,
change. right,
change the
That
map.
is to change the map
Okay.
from R2 to multi-use.
Okay. How often does that come up?
Changing the zoning?
Yes,
It's not very frequent.
okay,
But for a project this size, not unheard of or uncommon,
okay,
right? For a project this size, you generally want it to be a little bit more specific.
okay,
So,
all right.
and then you go through that process again, essentially with the land development plan itself, just like we did today, right? Where it went and it was reviewed by our engineer, it was reviewed by the township, it was reviewed by the county, it's reviewed by you guys now. We've all made our recommendations. It's going to go in front of Shade Tree, and then it's going to go to county, go to township council. But as far as that plan, right now it's still conceptual. So right now it's trying to figure out what plan are they going with? What does township want to see? What do the people want to see? Right.
well, I think you heard what the people want. I mean, it seemed kind of clear during that meeting. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's important to get community feedback like we did, and all these plans that come across our table, because, it is, we need to hear from our residents, the taxpayers, what their concerns are about things, what they would like changed, what they would like done. So I guess we just have to make sure we never lose sight of that. That's all.
Yep, and we'll continue, especially when it comes to planning commission, making sure that we're posting the agendas, posting also site plans as well, which we've, I think, done pretty consistently. So there'll always be, right, if you look under the meetings tab for all of the township meetings, there'll be our agenda and then also usually a site plan, and I like to put the landscape plan as well, because that usually gives you the best after development picture. So we'll continue to do that. And just for clarification, the community meeting was held on July 28th.
The 28th, yeah, I couldn't remember.
No worries, I had to look it up.
Yeah, okay. That's all I have for old business.
All right.
Yeah.
Any new business? Anything else? Sure. Come on up. Look like the name and address.
Good evening, Stacy Hawley, 1017 Mason Avenue. I'm just trying to understand the process, and this has been helpful. For that Mazzino tract that you're just discussing, is a traffic study required?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
like any development, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So I'm asking because that area is ripe for so much congestion. You've got the micro hospital going in Springfield. I mean, just that intersection where the Wawa is. Wawa did a good job with the traffic pattern, but that's my, as a resident, because I live in that area, that is a big concern, is the traffic. And also the retail in Drexel Line is not filled.
No,
And that, it's great that we want to, have a developer like Mr. Lingo who wants to bring retail and, to the community, but not just for the sake of bringing retail to the community, because Drexel Line is not complete. And that would be my objection, because we're just throwing, bad money, good money after bad money.
And just for clarity, as far as traffic review, so right, they'll perform a traffic study, write that up, give that to us. Our engineer and our traffic engineer will review that and make comments, and then it will also get reviewed by PennDOT. So
And does it get reviewed by the county? Does the county have to review it as well, or no?
Oftentimes it will go with the county,
Right,
our review, but they're not required to provide
no,
any
so it's
type of comment.
PennDOT and the township.
Right, because it's a PennDOT road, and then it's, right, township
Yeah,
impact.
that
So
is-
between the two, there'll be
Yeah.
3 layers of review.
Okay, just wanted, thank you.
all right, thanks, Stacy. Anything else? Need a motion to adjourn? All right, so,